Before Waffle House s.hooting, flags couldn't get any redder. The vast majority of Americans, including ardent Second Amendment defenders, agree that people with serious mental illness shouldn't have access to a firearm. And yet it keeps happening with regularity and the most tragic consequences. In a Waffle House last weekend outside Nashville, a deeply disturbed man with an assault-style rifle randomly killed 4 people, 3 men and a woman, all in their 20s. The victims were a musician, a student in social work, a cook saving money to start a family, and a 20-year-old home appliance installer who had just texted his mother about how much he loved her. The accused gunman, 29-year-old Travis Rankin, had a long and open history of aberrant behavior and even lost his legal right to own a firearm last August after an incident outside the White House. In 2 years leading up to the shooting, Rankin had threatened suicide, menaced an employee of his father's crane company with his AR-15, complained to police about singer-songwriter Taylor Swift hacking his phone, and dove into a public pool wearing a pink woman's housecoat. Flags don't get much redder than that. So what loophole allowed him to take up deadly force? After the White House incident, when Rankin had to surrender his gun owner's license to sheriff's deputies in Illinois, where he lived at the time, his 4 guns, including the AR-15, simply went to his father, Jeffrey, who held the necessary license. "We had no legal justification to seize the weapons," Tazewell County Sheriff's Chief Deputy Jeffrey Lower said. "We cannot seize property without a warrant or a crime being committed." Instead, deputies warned the father to keep guns away from his son. That didn't happen. Most mentally ill people are a greater risk to themselves than to others. But Rankin joined America's growing ranks of those clearly known to be emotionally unstable and threatening, and who still manage to arm themselves and commit slaughter. They include s.hooting, who killed 32 at Virginia Tech in 2007, Jared Launer, who shot Rep. Gabby Giffords and 18 others in 2011, Aaron Alexis, who gunned down 12 at the Washington Navy Yard in 2013, Esteban Santiago, who left 5 dead at the Fort Lauderdale airport last year, and high school shooter Nicholas Cruz, who ended 17 lives on Valentine's Day in Parkland, Florida. Federal gun laws disqualify the mentally ill from owning firearms only if they have been involuntarily committed by a court, a high bar that fails to cover many of the deranged and dangerous. The good news is that red flag laws are cropping up across the country. These allow law enforcement to obtain a court order for seizing firearms from a person whose mental condition renders them a clear menace. 6 states, California, Florida, Maryland, Oregon, Vermont and Washington, have them, and 20 more have them under consideration, including Illinois. Given Rankin's tragic circumstances, these laws need to require that seized guns be kept by law enforcement or a federally licensed firearms dealer, and not merely turned over to a relative who might give them back to their troubled loved one. If you can't see this reader poll, please refresh your page.